Welcome to Parking Talks. This week we will be discussing the topic of parking management. We have Liz from FlashParking and Paul from Smart Parking joining our discussion. So let's find out a bit more. Liz, could you tell us whether you feel consumers' expectations of parking management systems have changed over the last decade?
So I don't feel that the consumers' expectations have changed at the same level that the technology has increased for parking. Parking has typically been a commodity where people pull into a garage, pull a ticket, pay for that ticket, and give little thought to it. The technology is allowing us to be able to expand the products and availability of different types of parking and categorizations to be able to sell parking at different levels and allow accessibility through mobility, through cloud-based solutions, and taking into consideration all of the different parking groups that will be accessing the garage.
By the sounds of it, developments in technology have played a key part in the evolution of parking management systems. Would you agree, Paul?
My observation, certainly over the last 10 years, having been in this market for nearly 20 years, but if you think about your traditional parking management, the operators, the larger operators, Q Parks, NCPs, APCOs, those kind of people, I think that one of the biggest changes they've adopted is through technology. So using technology to manage their car parks more efficiently, to obviously maximise occupancy, maximise revenue, but also to maximise the customer experience. From my experience, I've dealing with larger operators and also in the APAC region, the likes of Secure Parking and Wilson Parking in particular, they work really hard on trying to improve customer experience. And they're doing that through technology, which is pleasing because we're also a parking management business, obviously focused in a different market area. But we believe we've changed the experience by utilising technology and making the experience of parking far more pleasant, by the use of technology, obviously mobile phone applications for payments, for guidance to empty spaces, those kind of things. So, a couple of things really. So, improving, your efficiency, occupancy, revenue generation, and also customer experience through technology, I think is a big change. But also, just look at the market landscape, as it were, has changed hugely over the last 10 years, in particular because of consolidation. So companies acquiring one another. So in recent years, obviously, there's been a lot of private equity involvement in the industry. There's been strategic buyouts with the likes of Park24 acquiring NCP, acquiring Secure Parking. We've seen a lot of private equity acquiring, last year, Macquarie Bank acquiring Parking Eye here in the UK. We've seen a number of those kind of acquisitions and consolidation activity because the market was ready for it. It's still a fragmented marketplace. Still lots of parking operators out there, lots of choice for the customer to use. So I guess it stands to reason that there's an opportunity for these companies to acquire one another and roll up into a larger entity. So the use of technology is becoming far more widespread and for the right reasons, and also consolidation of the market through acquisition.
Liz, what new features or technologies are currently being implemented to meet customer expectations?
So with today's trends, mobility is an important part of everyone's day-to-day lives. Flash Parking has taken that and allowed for parkers to increase their mobility and accessibility to garages with multiple options. From pre-purchasing reserved passes from leaders such as Spot Hero and Ticketmaster to being able to utilize their phone as an entry method using Bluetooth access, as well as pre-purchasing and prepaying for parking, allowing for ease of access to parking garages, makes parking much more seamless for a day-to-day person, requiring them to have less concern over how they're going to access a garage, pay for their parking, and not lose their ticket, make sure they have all of their credentials in hand at any time.
So it would seem that convenience is key and that the parking industry is striving to utilize all of the latest technology to give a good customer experience. And Paul, what new features do you expect?
I guess each location and each company is different about what kind of technologies they've adopted, how they want to improve customer experience. But just as a starting point, I think the use of your phone, right, for payments in particular, is really grown. So being able to use Apple Pay, for example, or using your phone as the payment device, using your phone for text to pay, or a number of payment apps are now available, both on street and off street, to be able to pay for your parking. All right, so that's something that's been adopted over the last number of years and is becoming far more commonplace. Some areas, certainly in London, you can only pay through your phone, using an application. And the reason for that is to drive out the use of cash in a parking operation. Obviously cuts costs for the council, to manage the on-street environment. They're not having to spend money on collecting cash from machines, they're not having to spend money on maintaining machines, all those kind of things. And you put up the signs and people pay for parking through their phone, using their phone application. So I think payments is a key area of change in the last 10 years. But also, I think the use of number plate recognition has really taken off for a number of reasons. Well, if you look at say off-street parking, for example, in a barrier-controlled environment or a boom gate-controlled environment, you'll see more ticketless systems. So traditionally, you'd pull up to a barrier and you take a ticket from the machine. The barrier goes up, you go and park, and then you take your ticket to the machine to pay when you come back. We're seeing that a number of new systems come into play in certainly the last 3 years, where your number plate becomes your ticket. So, and then when you're ready to leave the car park, you go to the machine, put your number plate in, and pay for how long you've been there for. So rather than using a ticket. So the ticketless technology, I think, is growing quite quickly through the use of number plate recognition. I think the use of mobile payments is absolutely growing and will continue to grow. I think the use of number plate recognition in the enforcement environment is something that's been widely adopted, certainly in the UK, and I think in other areas around the world it's starting to grow as well. So those are, I guess, the three key areas I would see right now in terms of the technology adoption in the parking management space.
Interesting thoughts, Paul. Can you tell us a little about what Smart Parking has been working on?
Absolutely. So we've done a lot of work in the last couple of years, like I say, trying to reinvent the customer experience or reinvent the parking experience. So, if we look at a couple of recent installations in Melbourne and also in Adelaide in Australia, where we rolled out our infrastructure. So we put sensing devices in the road across 3,000 parking spaces. So we're monitoring cars arriving and leaving, and also pumping that information in real time to a phone application. So motorists can find their way to an empty space quickly, easily, using real-time information provided by the sensors. That same application, when you arrive, will allow you to pay for that space as well. And if you're running late, the council, a particular feature they wanted us to put into that application was a top-up facility, beyond the maximum stay time, which is quite unique. So not many councils do that. So if you're in a 2-hour parking space and you've already paid for your 2 hours, the council's view is that we really want to give people a positive experience of downtown Adelaide. So therefore, if they need an extra 15 minutes, they can pay for that, but they can't go beyond 15 minutes over the top of their 2-hour maximum stay. So we developed that to suit the customer and obviously meet their requirements and exceed their requirements, which we've done, which is pleasing to see. So that's obviously one area that we've delivered recently, and we're pleased that we've got good positive customer feedback. That also, all that information that we collect from the likes of Adelaide and Melbourne and other customers around the world goes into what we call Smart Cloud, which is our new platform, our new information platform. And what we're particularly excited about is that the Smart Cloud platform can not just be used for parking information and data, it can be used to ingest various types of smart city data. So, for example, obviously a lot of excitement around the smart cities marketplace right now. And what we've designed Smart Cloud to do is essentially become one pane of glass or one platform that can ingest data and messages from any device. So whether it be a parking sensor, whether it be a number plate recognition camera, whether it be a CCTV camera, whether it be a lighting sensor to monitor power usage on the lighting columns, whether it be a air quality meter that quite often you'll find in downtown areas, they're monitoring the quality of the air. All that information can be received in real time and pumped into Smart Cloud that can be displayed in any location, any web-based location. Now, why is that important? Well, with smart cities becoming more and more popular, with city managers trying to manage the city more effectively and get information about what's happening so they can make decisions on what they do and where they spend their money in the city, then they can use that Smart Cloud as a one pane of glass solution to get all that information in one place so you can take business critical or information-driven decisions and use those for business outcomes. So that's something we're very excited about. We've gone live with a number of cities and we're starting to install Smart Cloud or go live with Smart Cloud at a number of customers and utilize it for more than just parking. So that's something that we're very excited about.
And finally, Liz, we would love for you to give us an example of where parking management systems have had a significant impact.
So in line with creating accessibility and mobility for our parkers, we've also considered the challenges of certain groups, such as hospital patients who may be required to visit a facility over an extended period of time. We provide ability for them to purchase value passes where they are actually able to preload a pass and use that to come in and out of the facilities without having to worry about payment each time. And as well as the ability to come in and out of the facilities for their doctor's appointments with ease of use. In other cases, we have also launched Bluetooth technology that allows for monthly parkers in high volume use areas to be able to enter and exit a facility without ever rolling down their window or adding additional infrastructure to the garage that is both costly and time consuming. By a single press of the button on their mobile phone will vend the gate and allow access.
Thank you both for joining our discussion today and for sharing your knowledge on the topic of parking management. If you have any comments or if you would like to see a specific topic discussed, please contact us at editor@parking-net.com. Thanks for tuning in and see you next time.